When people think of Saunders University High School and Girls in Panzer, they usually think of two things. Wink wink, nudge nudge. I'm joking. Shermans and Kay smiling out of a commander's hatch. Yeah, that's probably what you thought too, huh? Yeah, totally. But Saunders is more than just an American-themed team with good vibes. To understand why they matter in this series, we need to look at two things. Let's go work on the system, and then the people. Saunders represents the United States during World War II, and just like its real-world inspiration, Saunders doesn't build its identity around a single, big flagship kind of tank, like for example P-40s, Tigers, all these other different kinds of tanks that are really big, that are meant to define the school. Instead, it reflects the American wartime doctrine, industrial strength, adaptability, and coordinated warfare. The whole Sherman doctrine, the quote-unquote backbones of the Saunders force, is the M4 Sherman. In real life, the Sherman wasn't the most heavily armored tank of the war, it wasn't intimidating either, but was reliable, very adaptable, and most importantly, mass-produced. I might be wrong, but over 50k Shermans were built during World War II. The United States focused on logistics and sustainability rather than chasing increasingly heavy designs. Saunders mirrors this philosophy in Sen Shuttle. Rather than relying on a single flagship vehicle, Saunders relies on multiple different kinds of Sherman variants. Different guns, different battlefield roles, different configurations. This is reflected historically with the whole roles ranging from infantry to support to tank hunting, and in the anime, Saunders operates as a coordinated unit. Their whole strength doesn't really rely on an individual tank duels, but in positioning, communication, and cross support. Also really big numbers, but don't tell them that. Saunders favors mobility and information gathering. They use a lot of reconnaissance, they attempt to secure battlefield awareness, and apply pressure through numbers and coordinated fire. Compared to Kuro Morimine's heavy breakthrough doctrine or Pravda's defensive formations, Saunders represents flexibility. It's not about overwhelming armor, it's about controlled engagement. And on paper, that makes Saunders solid, structured, efficient, and consistent. But what truly defines Saunders isn't the tanks, it's the people in them. Kay, my opinion, is a very underrated commander, but at the same time, she's a very overrated commander. People can probably debate with me about this, but there are two big reasons as to why she might be overrated. But here's why I think she's an underrated commander. Kay doesn't look like a traditional commander. She laughs easily, very friendly, and very relaxed. It's exactly why people underestimate her. Her whole emotional leadership is Kay doesn't lead through fear, she leads through morale. Her team isn't fighting because they're pressured into perfection, they're fighting because they believe in her. That difference matters. I think that Kay has this trait where when she figures out that Alyssa has been spying on Ori communications, she instantly thinks that it's unfair and thinks it's foul play, and figures that she should split her tank division to equal the same amount that Ori has. And I think that's pretty cool. That's honestly really cool. So Naomi, surprisingly, is a very back-ended character. Not like that's a bad thing, but she's one of those characters where it's calm, focused, sharp. She acts like a stabilizer in Saunders' command structure. Kay brings a lot of energy. Naomi tends to bring that whole precision, snipers get more head kind of vibe. Their whole partnership ensures that Saunders is just optimistic. It's very technically sound. Especially the whole because literally Miho fears the Firefly that has Naomi in it. And every shot that the Firefly makes, it at least almost or does make a hit. It's pretty scary. Man, if only there was another character that had this same kind of energy to it. I just can't put my finger on it. To Alyssa, the whole competitive edge, we are first greeted with her immediately cheating, spying on Ori communications, especially with the whole spy balloon thingy. She brings off this whole thing as like a very competitive character. She, in my opinion, she represents Saunders' willingness to win. Her nature is very like aggressive. Beneath that whole like friendliness and smile, like she's just all like friendly. Like she even like hides this facade by immediately screaming at the top of her lungs towards Ori, and even to the point where she loses her cool and starts complaining about how her crush can't even quote unquote like confess to her, even though she hasn't done the same either.
Why doesn't he realize how I feel?
Wait, that's why Takashi rejected her. How could I have been rejected if I didn't even confess to it?
Real strength of Saunders is, in my opinion, why they are very dangerous. They don't really depend on a single ace tank. There's no aces in Saunders. They don't depend on terrain advantages or fear. I mean, maybe they do. Operate a lot on morale, coordination, and belief in one another. That kind of structure doesn't really collapse easily compared to the other fights that Ori has dealt with. But yeah, my opinion, Saunders isn't really flashy. It isn't dramatic, doesn't need a tiger, doesn't need a P40, doesn't need a snowstorm, doesn't need a white witch, doesn't need all that spectacle. Instead, they win through system strength and through a commander who understands that tanks aren't the only thing that wins battles. Okay, maybe a little bit. But people do, of course. Anyways, you get the point. Please subscribe to our channel if you want to see more. You can go ahead and like, have fun looking at our interesting videos on Instagram.
6, 7, 8.
See you guys. Bye-bye.